they told us we were in premarital counseling, and I remember the pastor looked at me. He said, "Y'all cannot. I will not even release y'all to get married until you go to anger management." I was like, "I ain't angry. What you mean?" I was like, "I ain't angry."
Jill Scott's personality. I couldn't find a video of her talking about this, but she's talked about her relationship expectations in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a brief listen.
All right.
Don't be scared of me. Mm-hmm. If you're scared of me, I will eat you.
Damn, Jill.
You're in her place.
Damn.
I'm not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in me dating someone that's afraid of me because I can walk all over you. And who wants that? Nobody wants that. Mm-hmm. I'll end up doing that and feel bad about it, and
then leaving the person and they're crying, and
then you're like, I'm dating a bitch ass, and I don't really,
why?
No respect.
Why?
They forget you from Philly sometimes.
I say it like this: if you can tell me what to do,
you can
tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Let me tell you something. That's one of my favorite interviews of Jill Scott. When she came out and said that, I said that's 100% accurate, right? I am an alpha female, period, across the board. I'm strong-willed. I really can't be shaken. You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like I have a one-track mind. I know what my desires are. I know what my purpose is. I don't need you coming trying to slow me down because you in your feelings. And so it's not that I can't honor and respect and submit. When I was with, I don't say I have exes, but when I was with that guy back in my 20s, and I remember we were in premarital counseling, and he was like, "She won't submit." I said, "Give me something to submit to." I will gladly submit. You want respect. I need security. So the moment that I don't feel like you living up to that standard, now I got to wear your pants. I don't want to wear your pants, but I have to. You see what I'm saying? And
Why?
so with Jill, hold on.
Okay, I hold my horses.
With Jill saying, I will eat you alive. This is so true. Because the moment that I feel like, and I will say this, maturity has taught me that I don't have to do that.
Okay.
And what I mean in that regard is, whereas in my 20s, I had no filter, and I still don't. I'm very blunt, but I have learned maturity with it, right? Whereas in my 20s, I had not mastered that. And so it was just like, Zanya was just Zanya, and emasculating, would tear you down verbally and not intentionally, and sometimes intentionally, because the moment that I feel like, bro, what am I with you for? I can do this on my own. If I gotta lick your feelings and mine, we get into an argument, and you said some things below the belt. What Jill say? I said some things. You said some things. And I'm like, okay, it hurt my feelings, but let's get past it. But hours later, you still like, you hurt me. I'm like, time out, bro. What are we doing right now? Like, okay, I can't even nurse myself because I have to nurse you. And so when she got to the point of, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. And it's not something that you look for. It's something that you discover. And it's almost like y'all discover it together, because it's at that moment. What is at that moment? It's like a strong woman wants somebody that can check her. That's just, I don't care what no strong woman say. You can be the strongest of strong, and you meet that one dude that's just like, "Hey, we ain't doing that." You like, okay, you ain't got to be yelling at me like that. All you had to do was say we ain't doing it.
Okay. I'm with you. Now, I've heard the story before. My mom was a strong woman. Don't get me wrong. I understand it through and through from this vantage point, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to ask, because the relationship game, or relationships in general, is a results-based conversation. It's a results-based organism. Basically, you get out of it what you put in it. So whatever you see from it, wherever you are regarding relationships or whatever you have, it's based on what you have put in. So I want to ask, going back to being an alpha female, to being a strong woman to having to wear those pants because the man didn't put it on. First off, where does that come from, and why do you believe that is where you are right now?
You know, I grew up with the best of both worlds. And I say that meaning I was blessed. It's a blessing and a curse because my dad is an alpha male. We don't touch doors. Everything is hi, beautiful. Hello, sweetheart. Let me do that for you, baby. And we didn't grow up seeking that type of attention. Like we got cards just because, we got roses from my dad just because, we got dressed up and went on daddy daughter days just because.
Yeah.
He ruined us, right? But then you had my mom, who was just like, you spoiling them girls. You work, you do this, you do that. At the end of the day, you ain't gonna have no man just taking care of you. You need to know how to take care of yourself. So it was like she was that alpha woman. And then we had the alpha man. Like my dad is a man's man. You feel me? And so when we got older, and for a while we was all single, like in our 30s. Me and my sisters, we weren't married. And my parents were like, what is going on here? And I remember my mom said, we've ruined y'all. I was like, what do you mean? And she said, because y'all so independent.
Wow.
You're so independent. You won't even let a man cater to you. And I was like, yes, I will. I would absolutely let a man cater to me. But they set the bar so high. My dad, and I'm not just saying this, my dad set the bar so high that the moment that they weren't tipping that, I'm like,
deuces.
what are you doing? But then I had to learn. I remember this guy I dated. I remember we got somewhere and I just sat in the car because I'm like, what? And he was halfway going inside. I was like, bro, what you doing? And mind you, the guy I dated before him, the one I was in a 7-year relationship with, he was very chivalrous because that's how his dad taught him. So it was just like in alignment, right? And then I got with this guy who was a mama's boy. And he was spoiled by all his aunts and his grandmother. And I remember we got into it about that. And he was just like, why you can't open your own door? Excuse me, wait a minute. And I remember his mom, because at that point he was embarrassed. And I remember his dad reached out to me and he apologized. And he said, I take ownership of that. Whew. He said, because I did not teach him. And his mom apologized and she said, we spoiled him. Myself, my mom, his aunts, we spoiled him rotten. She was like, so the type of chivalry that you're accustomed to, he doesn't know. And when we talked about it, he was embarrassed. And it turned into anger because he was just like, why don't I know this? She's expecting this from me. And it's just like, what do you mean that's normal? Who does that? And they were like, that's what you do. And so it was in that moment that they recognized we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. And so when it comes to me being that alpha female, it's because of the way I was raised. It's with the notion and the attitude of, and see, I was blessed because I have my biological mom and then I have my stepmom, which we don't use stepmom at all.
Yeah.
And she married my dad when I was 7, alpha female. My biological mom, alpha female, right? Yeah. She really was the cookie from Empire. Her past life, but she was that. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. She was, she lived that street life and lived it well. She dated nothing but drug dealers. We grew up hood rich. We didn't want for Nathan. You feel me? And so, when you have a mom like that, my mom was straight hood. So she's telling me stuff like when I'm 5, kindergarten, and we laugh about it now. But I remember she looking at me if she was dating somebody, and I remember this guy drove down the street. And she looked at me and she said, "Baby, you can do bad by yourself." I was like, What that mean? What does that mean? And she was like, don't you ever be with no man. and you can't pay your bills. Because what is he there for? You could sit in a house with no lights by yourself. If you with somebody and you got to walk down the street, you can walk by yourself. And it's little things like that she would drop, those kind of nuggets along the way, that when I became an adult and I'm dating, I'm like, and so my friends would make jokes, because I was like, man, you get with these dudes and I'm telling you, these dudes would spoil me. I didn't really pay for anything. I didn't. I would lose my job. Like, bro, I lost my job. Don't worry about it. Car notes stay paid. Rent stay paid. Everything stay paid across the board. I wouldn't have to pay for anything. The dude I dated for like 7 years, we broke up and he was still paying all my bills. And so, and that's not me bragging. I want to be very clear. That's not me bragging. That's the standard that was set. And so it's more so like, it's the way that you're reared, but you have to learn a balance. And I did not know that balance for a long time, right? And it's a lot that I've had to learn and mature and grow into. And just like Jill, being an alpha female and saying, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. I can tear you down and all that kind of stuff. That's nothing to brag about. And it took the Holy Spirit checking me one day, because I was like, bro, I can break you. And the Holy Spirit was like, you proud of that? He was like, you boasting in that? That you have the ability to cripple someone emotionally? And I remember when I was going through anger management, because me and the dude I was getting ready to marry, they told us, we were in premarital counseling, and I remember the pastor looked at me, he said, I will not even release y'all to get married until you go to anger management. I was like, I ain't angry. What you mean? I was like, I ain't angry. So, I left. I was like, and I remember him sitting there. He was like, she has a temper. She does this. I was like, how dare you sit here? You tell me. And I remember he was like, just go. If we really want to make this work, just go. And I tell people all the time, I went to anger management / counseling to save my relationship, and I ended up saving myself.
Ooh. Because
that relationship did not work. And I started anger management in February of 2011. Me and him were broken up by March.
Wow.
Done. I was in anger management until almost September. And I remember she looked at me and she said, you are a murderer. And I said, first of all, you don't even know me. Now, mine just I would go up in anger management just like, I'm just here, just to say I came. So we used to get married. And she would try so hard. Her name's Sarah Binion. If you out there, I love you, ma'am. But she would try so hard. And then, eventually the ground started to break around my heart. And she told me, she said, you are a murderer. She said, there are people who sitting on death row and you should be there. And I remember I was so salty, because I'm like, I'm sweet. I'll give you the shirt like that. What are you talking about? Real dramatic, so extra. And she was like, your mouth. She said, your mouth spits venom. Your mouth spits fire. It's poisonous. It's deadly. She said, you're so emasculating. You're so disrespectful. She was like, and you stand on the back of, this is just how I am. She said, when really it's a weakness. She was like, because it's a defense mechanism. The moment that you feel like someone is hurting you or trying to hurt you or trying to attack you, you go for the kill. And that was true. Like, if you told me, Zanya, I'm really insecure about my elbow, I'd be like, oh man, I'm praying for you. And then the moment you piss me out, messed up elbow. I was like, Lord, thank you for delivering. You got that retarded elbow. You walk around like this, just crazy. And I remember I was so angry. I got in the car and I called my prayer partner and I was crying. I was like, she told me I was murdered. She told me awful things to me. And my prayer partner, she was like, I think you should just pray. She didn't want to tell me. You're crazy, girl. But as I allowed the Holy Spirit to reveal myself, and I'm not saying that I've gotten it perfect, because I don't. I'm very transparent. Even about a month or so ago, now I've gotten way better. I've learned to, but when I keep being pressed, I'm like, I feel like you playing with me. You about to unleash a dragon that you don't want to unleash. I remember just about a month or so ago, I had this conversation with someone, mind your business, and they was really pissing me off, right? Yeah. And I felt like I wasn't being considered, and I don't like that because I'm like, you could be with the strongest individual. You could be a strong female, and you will meet the strongest man who you trust with your heart that has proven himself, and you don't mind being vulnerable with him. And that's what Jilly means. If you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. Yeah. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. If I don't trust you, you're not going to get vulnerability from me. And that's where a lot of men miss it. They're just like, you going to forever be by yourself with that kind of attitude and this and the third. And I'm like, but you're not it. Because you're not securing yourself, because you're automatically coming in looking for submission without doing the work. You just think that should be given just because you're the man when you have not proven yourself.
Let's go.